Hey, what is up, docs? Ryan G here with BlowUp Local. It is day number 4 of Operation Babysitting. Baby Clover and I have been on our own for 4 days while the rest of the family is in Canada. It's actually not been that bad. There's been some moments where she's fussing and not wanting to go to sleep. It's been hard to work, but ultimately we've been doing pretty good. So I wanted to ask you guys a question. And the question is, when patients walk into your practice, how does your practice make them feel? If your practice makes them feel like crap, it's probably going to be pretty hard for you to convert those people into paying customers. But if your practice makes them feel good, and if your practice positions you as a real expert, then it makes it a lot simpler to convert them into a paying high-ticket patient. You know, for years, one of my front teeth has had a hole in it. I could feel the hole, but I didn't go to the dentist because I didn't have any pain and I just didn't care, which that's a lesson all in of itself, is that most people are not going to take action until they actually experience pain. But last week, it was really hurting. I was having a hard time sleeping. So I said to Tiffany, can you schedule me an appointment with the dentist? Let me go in and let's get this thing finally fixed. So she scheduled me an appointment. I walked in and I immediately noticed something that shocked me, something that I haven't seen in businesses in a very long time. If you remember in 2020, when you'd go to the grocery store, the cashier would have this like sheet of plexiglass right in front of them. But like 1 foot over to the right, there was no plexiglass. So for some reason, that barrier protected them. So I walk into this dentist and there's a reception desk and there's this huge, I bet you it's 10 feet long by 4 foot tall piece of plexiglass. Do you guys hear the baby in the background? I'd rather her make that noise than crying. So there's this huge piece of plexiglass barrier between me and where the receptionist would be. And then there's a huge sign on the plexiglass that says we are a certified, 4-on-4 dentist or whatever that certification is. I don't know if this business practice realizes that by having this big piece of plexiglass, you are creating resistance. You're creating a separation between me and the rest of the staff. And frankly, it makes me not trust you. It makes me not like you. But then as I was standing there waiting for somebody to come up and, say hello to me and give me the new patient paperwork, I started looking around and I noticed that they had signs everywhere. Signs that said, do not use your cell phone. No pictures allowed. No foods and drink. No kids. Kids need to sit with their parents. There's just all these rules, and I get it. I get that they put these signs up probably because they've had a lot of issues in the past. But it also, when you start off the relationship, me walking in with a bunch of negatives like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, it just, again, creates resistance inside of me and makes me not like you. Like, honestly, when I saw those signs, keep your kids in your lap, no food, no drink. I'm looking around the office. Your office looks like crap, okay? So if you're worried about my kid breaking something, everything in this room should be piled in the middle of the parking lot and lit on fire because it's from the 1970s and it's old. Your carpet already has dozens of stains on it. Like, my kids cannot wreck this office much more than than the damage that's already been done. So I just thought it was weird. And it reminds me, there's a movie theater that we used to go to that when you walk into the movie theater in Tampa, there's probably 30 doors to walk in. And each door is only like 6 inches apart. I don't know why there's so many doors, but there are. I promise you, every single door has a no guns allowed sign. And then when you walk in, there's probably 5 more signs that say no guns allowed, which are right by like the cashier where you buy your tickets. And then there's all these other signs of strollers and purses and no outside food and all this stuff. Like, it reminds me of somebody who just got a laminating machine and went wildly overboard just having fun making laminated signs, and they just made as many signs as they could possibly think of. But again, it creates resistance. It creates negativity, and frankly makes me not want to be there, which is why we don't go to that movie theater anymore. So I stood at this reception desk for probably 7 minutes or so, and I realized nobody was coming to help me. So I just went and sat down and started looking around. And that's when I noticed the carpet was all dirty and stained. The couches which again is weird, like what medical office has couches, but that's what they had. They had these old couches that were like a green leather, and you could tell the leather was very, very old. It was uncomfortable. It was very awkward. And then I noticed the door that was leading from the waiting room into like the patient area was a very heavy steel, looks like if you could imagine a door that would be inside of a jail, it was almost like that, a very thick, solid steel, very medical jail looking door. Now, I sat there. Finally, after like 20 minutes, a woman walked out of the back. She handed me my new patient paperwork, so I started filling it out. She never said hello. She never welcomed me to the clinic. She just said, "Are you Ryan?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Okay, I'm going to need you to fill out this paperwork." And I was like, "Okay." So then, after we filled out the paperwork, she walks me into the back, opens up this big medical door, and that is when the smell hit my nostrils. When I walked into the back of the room, you're going to think I'm exaggerating, but I am not. When I walked into the back of the room, it smells like body odor. It smelled like body odor so bad that I thought, man, maybe it's me. So when the nurse wasn't looking, I kind of smelled myself, and I was like, no, man, I took a shower. Like, it's not me. I really think it was the carpet. The entire back was all carpet, and I think that carpet was so old, it just developed like a stench. It was really gross. The ceiling tiles were old. They had like, when ceiling tiles get old and they get a little bit wet, they start to get brown stuff on them. So then she brought me into the x-ray room. We did the x-rays. We went into the exam room, and they had me watch this like pre-consultation video to kind of pre-frame what was going to happen in the sales pitch they were going to go through. Except they had me watch this video on like a 10-inch TV screen that was very awkwardly sitting in the corner of the room on this ritzy little or tiny little weird table. The entire experience was just extremely weird. And when you're trying to sell like a, $6,000 tooth implant, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. Because if you can't even, in my mind, if you can't even do something as simple as welcome me into the practice when I first walk in, I'm not sure if you can actually fix my tooth. If you can't smell the armpit smell coming out of this carpet and realize that it's been there for 30 years, you should probably replace it, then I don't think you can actually fix my tooth properly without causing a lot of problems. So the point of that lesson is, docs, your patients are judging you on everything. They're judging you based on your website. They're judging you based on your presence online. They're judging you based on the way your staff answered the phone. They're judging you based on how soon they were able to get an appointment. They're judging you based on how your staff welcomed them when they walked inside of your practice. They're judging you based on the smell, based on visually. Is it visually appealing, or have you not painted your office in 7 years? You want to sit on my lap now? Have you not painted your office in 7 years and there's like grease marks from kids on the walls? They're judging you from that type of stuff. They're judging you based on your personal appearance. Have you shaved? Are you cussing inside of your like appointment? Or, my chiropractor does this every once in a while. Are you 30 minutes late to your scheduled appointment? Now, as somebody, I am very particular about time, very particular. If somebody is 1 minute late or so, if I'm hiring somebody and that applicant is 1 minute late to the interview, you're done. I will not interview you. We are done. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're showing up consistently late to your scheduled appointments, man, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to go somewhere else. Yeah, so just think about that. And maybe, I did have a chiropractor offer me a decent amount of money recently and asked if I would come to his office just pretend to be a new patient, just to kind of see what his staff does, what they're not doing, take a look at the office and just see what I see that needs to be improved or needs to be fixed. Clover, are you trying to talk on this podcast? Huh? Are you trying to talk? So maybe that's what you guys need. Maybe you need a fresh set of eyes because maybe you've just gotten too used to your environment and what you've done and getting into the rhythm of things that you don't even realize that you might be repelling your perfect patient because of something that's an easy fix. Like repainting your office is an easy fix. Ripping out old carpet and putting in new carpet is an easy fix. Getting new furniture is an easy fix, right? So it's all simple stuff, but sometimes we get in our own way and we're just not really thinking about it. So that's all I've got for today. If you would like me to come to your office, if you think that might potentially be a good product idea, something we should offer, shoot me a text, 813-789-9868. That's 813-789-9868. Let me know if that's a good idea or not, and maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. I don't know. That's all I've got for today, Doc. So until next time, keep moving forward.